Okay. Hiya. Good afternoon. I think it's afternoon. Thanks for coming so early. Thank you for the organisers. Thank you to 87 Press, Azad and Kashif for inviting me. They're literally my sons. So this poem sort of dedicated to them, although they might misown it at the end. But anyway, not own it. Just a warning, there are some juicy language in here. So, the old hip hop albums had parental advisory stickers on it. Well, this poem is going to have that. I'm going to read one long poem that I've been working on for recently, really. And it's in the style of a block, which you may know is just a sort of, there's no line breaks, etc. So it's a kind of just goes on, and it'll go on for I think about 15 minutes. Okay. It's called England's Dreaming Again. And there's 3 epigraphs, quotes. First one is, even the dead will not be safe from the enemy if he is victorious. Walter Benjamin. England is so black and white, so plain, like a burger with nothing on it. No salad, nothing. That's why it's so real. Skepta. Third epigraph. The magic words are, up against the wall, motherfucker. This is a stick up. Amri Baraka. 2022 Platinum Jubilee. Young Queen's hologram digitally waving in 1953 coronation gold carriage. The 2022 people cheered at the hologram. Time collapsing, being rearranged. BBC montage, dissolves, mixes, edits, national myths, fictions, reality, death, life, history, memory, amnesia. Cut. Fascists running amok, Paki bashing national sport, keeping the dream alive, 1977. Fuck the Jubilee, land of hope and glory. It ain't half hot, mum, on the telly, blackened up by Michael. Oh, forgot his name. Can't be bothered to Google it. Who cares? The black and white minstrels dancing in the home. Lenny Henry. Oh dear. Racist television flow. TV, the migrant window to the white world. Visions of exotic places. Welwyn Garden City. Reading, Dudley, Tooting, Croydon. White on black entertainment. Dialectic reversal. I'm ducking and diving. I'm diving in Handsworth. NF marching down Soho Road, waving the jack. The pigs defending free speech, policing the crisis. SPG mugging black men. Brum, the afterlies of empire. Handsworth home, the front lines, the battle lines. Anarchic frictions, no future after the future, end of the future. Punked up, the systematic dearrangement of the senses. England's dreaming, God save the Queen. Why? The internal colonized, the surrounds unravelling, Handsworth revolution, steel pulse, stub plate, rewind, trench down, Bob Marley, Jamaican socialism, Rastafarian visions, black and punk, scar sound systems, rocking against racism, Gramsci, Birmingham's organic intellectual in translation, wave the flag of the uncommonwealth, fantasies of imperial civility, the imperium of migrant workers under duress, factory killing spaces, asbestos in the air. Welcome to the motherland, welcome to the jungle. Mum and dad dressed up to the nines, hidden lives, secret stories, BBC archives, memories of tea on verandas, last days of the Raj, invisible coolies labouring, crossing the Kalapani, Black Sea, dead labour, haunted Caribbean souls. Second generation in school, black and Asian together, Handsworth, Bruce Lee, everyone's kung fu fighting, funky disco, blue shebeens, jazz funking, rear groove, Buddha suburbia, the fear and rage, going mad, civil war, 4-day week, power cuts, 1973 heat wave, the second hottest day since records began, Notting Hill, revolting, Sterling crisis, Bretton Woods, the New World Order, Saudi OPEC running the world, social democracy on its knees, neoliberalism invented, Ugandan migrants swamping, Grunwick strike led by Asian women, labour relations remade, black and Asian political unity, Afro-Asian anti-colonial struggles in the metropolis, George Padmore, C.L.R. James, John Rose, Stuart Hall, International modernism, black art, Michael X and the Black House, Shivanandam, race and class, Institute of Race Relations, steel bands and samosas, multicultural education critiqued, Bangla from east to east, battle for Brick Lane, brown folks smell and are aliens, curry powder, and I said curry power, curry powder and foreign tongues, white cliffs of Dover standing proud, holding the fort, island of fading empire and Vindaloo, Enoch's our man, love thy neighbour, tell us do part, Jimmy Savile fixed it. The long 1970s. What if the empire never ended? Cut, 2022, bunting flags and neighbourhood watch street parties, the scream of opulence, Britain doing the North Korean PR simulation, the Queen between two deaths, virtual imagining, zombie family, richest woman in the world on welfare, Paddington Bear, illegal immigrants shipped to Rwanda, food banks, stolen jewels and fucking horse racing. Where's the rage, the anger, the 1970s? The revolution will not be tweeted. Black Twitter, black lines raised, no outside, brown folks in power, cultural diversity triumphs. Priti Patel, Rishi Sunak, Sajid Javid, capitalism in brown face unleashed, not in my name, fantasies of decolonization, Bojo Eaton mess, nasty fucker, parting on the bodies of the dead, labour out of focus, poor becoming poorer, chuck the disabled under the bus, let the drowning drown, let the drowning down, murder in the med, fortress Europe crumbling, running out of breath, mask up, unless you're a Muslim woman. The old folks left to die, don't let them in the hospital, let them leave the hospital. Impotent gaze, the deadly charade, we got our country back to the 1950s, the 1930s, against the urban modernism of the post-colonial migrant. Little narcissistic, deluded island on the edge outside of Europe, Brexit land, England's dreaming, battleships in the Channel, delusions of grandeur, post-colonial melancholia, internal crisis of empire, Scotland's declining, breakup of the Union, migrants in the Dead Sea. Fuck Zizek. I wanted to say that for a while in public. To him, migrants don't come to the West to be European. They want to escape hunger, poverty, war. End of brackets. Capitalism as our unconscious, creating a virtual self, a fiction for corporate reproduction, so-called primitive accumulation, monopoly capitalism, neoliberal capitalism, late capitalism, friction-free capitalism, real abstraction, post-capitalism. You're having a laugh, Paul Mason. Mirages of deceit, the art of advertising seduction. Why do we desire fascism? Racial paranoia, urban schizophrenia, networks of acceleration, black bloc, dead culture, cold media, black mental unhealth, chained to the asylum outside, black bodies, black death, peace killing, pire political security, death to foreigners, poetry as protest, the ends of the visual world, digital protest, abolish the image, end of the visual world, digital protest, abolish the image. I said that again. Iconism of the screen, the death drive, my nightmares, bullet passing through my brain, blood spurting out, laughing that I live before and after death, Gaza kids dying and surviving, Western democracy a killing machine, cut, Zionist death state. We love Israel, the only democracy among the uncivilized flesh left to rot, bullet in the head of journalists, Western platitudes, bullet time, bulldozing housing, zoning Zionism, remapping the Jewish state, white paranoia and horror. Who is the good Muslim? Surveillance, the arts of security, reality TV, algorithmic policing, minority report temporal loops, re-engineering cities, destroying homes, loving the rich, elephant castle down, more houses or a college. Shame on LCC. Universities selling out to the market for the fully integrated corporate university. Employability is the goal. For us, it's not working. Liberate desire, abolish the university, forget decolonization, bring it all down. Free universities, community education, the undercommon, diasporic localism, the city under duress, speculative finance, renter capitalism, the spatial fixed, Russian dolls laundering money, Ozak style in London, Chelsea FC, a bit of a post-Soviet financial mafia indulgence, Russia, European empire fueling Europe. War, the logics of the war the logics of the military, industrial, entertainment, biopolitical complex. Enjoy our killing machines, selling cheap to media fascist states. Cut. Indian democracy in crisis, 1975, 2022. A Bollywood film starring fascist action heroes. Image management, the Hindu terror, killing Muslims, Dalits, the poor, violence to women rampant, rape normalized, law and police engendering gender violence, Delhi crime, Netflix frictions, algorithmic viewing, feminists, queer folks on the edge, Indian smart cities, fantasies, slum techne, organizing against BJP techno-feudalism, big pharma, pandemic capitalism, globalization of the South, pirate modernity, disseminating, disrupting the networks of civil society, experiments in screens, new topologies of sociality, fuck caste, fuck Hindu nationalism, fuck communism, and fuck heteronormative violence. For queer love and cush intimacy, revolutionary subaltern queerness, tongues untied, queer monkey gods and feminist militant atheism, surreal polytheistic poetics, red salam, communism reimagined. A collective orgy of insurgency, bodies recomposed as flesh and data across borders, opaque codes hiding in the light, secret histories, capitalists bleeding from the inside, the horror suffocating, emergent architecture of global struggles, tricontinental revisions, banding networks, third cinema as poetics reinvented, imperfect cinema, imperfect poetics. Can poetry change the world? Answers on the piece of paper. Aesthetic education as the future of unlearning, learning. Gayatri Spivak is the future. Literature and close reading. Poetics, the rearrangement of our desires. The conditions for the subaltern to speak in poetic language recomposed. Can poetry be activism? 2007-8, capitalist financial collapse, crisis. 2011, UK riots, police killing Mark Duggan. The riots for social justice, crisis, riot poetry in the block form, the formation and deformation of language as allegorical of police kettling protesters. The block intensified the limits of language. Poetic intensification to the point of deconstruction, destruction, fragmentations. Words blur, language breaks down. Experimental effect in the constraints of the poem as block. Sean Bonney, poet as pamphleteer, agit-prop. Poetry fought as activism, or poetry as bourgeois art. The end of poetry when language is poetic. The revolution is surreal poesis. Cut. China, the revolutionary state. Mao meets urban capitalism. Systems of brutal control. The techno-Silk Road spreading tentacles. China in Africa. African China. Chinese Africa. Africa unleashed. Asians as African. Mississippi Masala, Kalapani, safe distancing, mask, breathing, dying, no borders, islands drowning, climate death. How many cars shall we have so that we kill off slowly the underdeveloped islanders? Fuck your development goals. IMF, World Bank, COP26, whatever, I forgot. The eclipse of industrial capitalism, digital technologies rerouting the vectors of globalization. How China will rule the world by Martin Jakes, Marxism Today. Postmodern Asian nation, exploitative labour and state biopolitical control, training camps for Uyghurs, fascism in plain sight, hyper-urbanisation, underground resistance, cut. US Asians running Silicon Valley, digital capitalism, digital capture, Facebook, aka Meta, hunting you down, selfie madness, photos of the fictional ego self, networks of dislocation and tools for revolt, Arab Spring against authoritarian states, Saudi petrofascism, Afghanistan, tragic nation, the game continues, Syrian factions, Libya disorder, Western imperial geopolitics, drone warfare, militarized policing, cut, Sufi vernacularism, quality soul music, poetic utterance in but not of the theological order, trans-global quality sounds from Delhi, Karachi, Kabul, Tehran to Birmingham and Bradford. Post-punk qual, Azid Mian dies in Tehran. Foreign bodies, digital contamination. What is the point of poetry? Cut. Again, England's dreaming. Punk, post-funk, post-quali, reggae, dub, brunga, hip-hop, house, rave, garage, jungle, Asian underground, Asian overground, dubstep, grime, drill, R&B, dub funk, punk funk. Forgetting retromania, Spotify playlists crossing time and space, emergent cartographies of music worlds. Forget worlding, forget time, history is shared common memory. Cut. Racial capitalism is post-colonial capitalism. Capitalism makes you sick and it sells you the cure. Fuck mindfulness. Give us better working conditions and pay us more. Black, brown women, invisible work and labour, cheap labour running the world. Imagine if all the women cleaning the infrastructure of capitalism were on strike globally. The real general strike, the real general intellect. Black Lives Matter, women-led, global protest, mobile image circuitry, images of Black Death, now to break things. Protest is policing practice. Riot, the voice of the dispossessed. Abolish the police. Abolish the conditions for policing. Cut. BLM in art worlds, universities, media, art centres. Image politics, institutional amnesia. Take a knee. Poetry is activism, racial justice, rioting. Poetry experiments material science systems, civil disobedience. Poetry is communication. Uprising, class war, crisis. Cut. Alt-right in the house. White riot on the screen. Trump and McLuhan, Fox Channel and Baudrillard. Communication capitalists, psychopolitics and the death drive. Cut. Enslaved in the whole secret futures. Delirium, paranoia, aftersides of slavery. Cut. Open secret histories, 1977, 2022. No time, out of time, our time, other times, lost time, the long 70s crisis. Cut. YouTube, the archive of the everyday, not fully captured by algorithm montages, memory and history, England's dreaming, subaltern histories, forgotten struggles, fugitive sociality, urban multiculture, Four Lions, Bradford Riots, We Are Lady Parts, experiments in archival futures, digital flesh memories, surreal systematic disarrangement of the senses, YouTube, the new third cinema, reloaded inside the schizophrenic zones of post-pandemic global empire. Cut. Civil war and the police state. Cut. Poetry as thought, as proto-conjunctural analysis. Cut. Kill the self. Cut. Poetry as communism. Cut. Poetry in delirium. Cut. Poetry in as crisis. Cut. Maybe this poem is nonsense. It's not even poetry. Perhaps it's a surreal materialist hologram of Milton poetics. Cut. Aesthetic theory, state of emergency. Feel the effective force of the poem. Policing the crisis, the long 1970s. Fuck the Jubilee. Cut. The magic words are, up against the wall, motherfucker. This is a stick-up. Cut. Thank you.